Well, hello everybody. This is Daniel with Daniel's Bullion Coins, and I have my sweet wife Ingrid here today.
Good morning.
Hello to everybody.
Hello.
I bet you we're going to do the week in review
Yes.
first.
Why don't you start there, darling?
Let's start there. The week in review. And this is probably getting more and more interesting every week to do these, because we can see what's coming and what's happening, and we get our predictions off of that. So what we've had is a huge run up. Everybody knows that spiked 50% for gold, 60% for silver so far this year. We've had a pullback. I think it's 350 in a day or two, and 500 altogether for gold being pulled back, silver being pulled back 8 to 10%. We all know that.
Yeah.
But what this is, in my opinion, clearly is just the sellers getting out. There's a lot of pressure at $50 because we've seen $50 as the top before in silver, and 4,000 in gold is a psychological number.
Yeah.
So we're seeing that being put in as a ceiling, floor, a consolidation, all of those different terms. It's just a momentary pause. Nothing has changed. Everything is going to continue to run. The pressure is going to continue to be there.
Yeah.
But what happened is, let's look at the shop. We took in a massive amount of silver.
Yeah.
And everybody knows, if you follow any of the other YouTube channels, there are other coin shops that are not even taking 90%. Right. Some places are 50% back. Some places are 20% back, depending on what you're selling. So they're refusing to take it, and our wholesaler is basically refusing to take it by saying 2 to 4 weeks before we can pay you. Yeah. Other people, there's horrifying stories all over the internet. And I think that things get very disconnected and combobulated, and what are we doing? And there's rash decisions at different wholesalers and coin dealers being made, and it needs to shake out when there's a confusion like this. And so you see 90% getting really bashed in the head, when I really think this is more about the 925 scrap and the dory, which comes from the mines. The refiners are just backed up. And like we've talked about before, the 1,000-ounce bars, those are empty. There's a huge demand for those. The banks want them, and that building is empty, and the material coming into the melters is full. It's backed up. And we've always talked about how narrow and how small this melting and process is, because it's family owned and all that. But back to here this week, we have started to see people actually switch to buying. Yeah. So we've had buyers, a couple of buyers in this week. We're still getting a trickle of sellers, but nothing like it was. Right. So you can start to see that people are going to, the melters are going to catch up. And then there's going to be a problem of, where is the silver? We need the silver. Right. And they're going to start to call for it and demand for it, and the price will start to go back up again. And I think that the premiums will close in and maybe even exceed spot, because the demand for silver from the banks and the strategic metals that Trump has done, all of these things.
Because there's still a good spread between the buying and the selling.
The spread is huge. Yeah, it's really huge right now.
We just don't know where it's.
Yeah, well, they don't want it. They still don't want the silver. They still don't want it stacked up in their warehouse. So they're making the spread really wide, the margin really wide on what they sell it for and what they're willing to buy it for. It gets further and further apart. And people come in and ask me, why are you 20% back on such and such a product? Well, they're not buying it. And then why is it so high? Look at Eagles. Eagles are like $60 right now. They're in that area, if you can get them. Yeah. And that makes it difficult to explain to people. And I think it's the shutdown, the government shutdown for Eagles, that's running the price up, and the demand for the melters. And they're telling me, I don't understand this, but they're telling us that they're melting the 90% and the Eagles and making the 1,000-ounce bars. Now, the only way they can do that, in my opinion, is maybe the banks are paying more than spot price for the tangible 1,000-ounce bars in order to justify melting Eagles, melting 90%, melting and doing that. It doesn't make sense to me.
It's just so sad when you think about it.
I mean, here they are producing these Eagles, selling them at $60, but yet they're melting them, and the 90%, which is your incremental, fungible authenticity value.
Constitutional.
It's
silver.
what you're going to need in a economic collapse. You're going to need currency, dimes, quarters, and halves. You can buy a loaf of bread over here on Monday for a dime, and then a roasted chicken over here on Tuesday for a quarter. So it's actual currency. And I think it's going to be catastrophe to not have those dimes, quarters, and halves when we want to get away from the digital or paper collapsing currency. The 90% is going to be gone.
Well, we also had the FOMC this week. That kind of made a difference in the...
Yeah, so the FOMC, they lowered it another 25 basis points, which is a race to the bottom on the currencies. And I was thinking about it today. Really what Trump is doing is sort of like Reagan did was he outspent the Soviet Union on the Cold War.
Yeah.
And it caused the Soviet Union to collapse. And that's sort of what Trump is doing. He's saying devalue the dollar. Well, they're devaluing faster than we are.
And Japan and
China and all of these other countries, which may cause them to actually collapse. They may not have the ability, because we are the reserve currency, we may be able to go to the bottom faster and stronger and recover quicker than they can. So it's kind of like a Cold War scenario. Okay, you want to race to the bottom? Let's race to the bottom. So we're spending money with the big, beautiful bill, and we're lowering interest rates. Trump is pressuring.
He's wanting more. Yeah,
Pardon me?
He's wanting to lower even more than what,
Yes.
The quarter point.
They're talking 2-3%. Where, and I'm sure next year when we get a new Powell,
oh my goodness,
we get rid of Powell, we get a new Fed chairman, they're going to lower it even further, because it's a Cold War centered around the dollar. Okay, let's race to the bottom. Let's destroy our currencies, and we'll see how China and Japan, China and these Asian markets, how they do with that, Russia and all. So that may be what they're doing. We're printing money in order to keep people satisfied. The nanny state, which we've got to deal with that. We cannot keep up the nanny state scenario, I don't think. But we've got to get manufacturing, get everybody back to work here in the U.S.
Well, the thing with the shutdown, I've listened to some people how they say that it's a ploy of the Democrat Party, I hate to say, but to cause instability and make Trump look bad.
Yes.
Cause the economy actually to sink, so they'll turn to socialism.
Yes. That's true.
I've heard that ploy.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
And especially if you can disrupt the people. We stop the SNAP programs, we stop all of these benefits, these nanny state benefits, then the people will rise up and get pretty destructive.
So we really have to pray there's a turnaround.
Yes, we need a turnaround. We're believing for a turnaround.
That they will agree.
And we've got to get people back to work. And that's going to be a difficult thing. That's why I've said all along how difficult this is going to be for President Trump to turn this nation around.
Yeah.
Because you've got to get people back to work. And disciplining yourself, the character, to even like to eat right and to go to work and produce an income. It's going to take a huge shaking to do it. Right.
Because we talk to people here and they're just not.
They're discouraged. They're not excited about seeing how they can get ahead with the situation. No. So he's going to have to create optimism and manufacturing at the same time. What else do we have for this week?
Okay, well, I was going to ask you, why should we do, in review?
Was there anything else that we missed?
I think we got all my questions there. My next question is, why go numismatic on silver?
Oh, okay. Yeah, so we hear a lot about numismatic gold, and we understand that Executive Order 6102 that Roosevelt put out, where they confiscated gold in 1933. And someone asked a really good question this week. They came in and said, well, what about silver? Is there anything in numismatic in the silver market? And there really is something starting to creep up, and it's the Type 1 Eagles.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is really interesting that I didn't realize that this has been happening. Actually, a customer first turned me on to it, and then I checked on it this week because another customer asked me. And the type 1 sealed boxes with the straps still on them, and they tend to be the yellow
monster
straps.
boxes you're talking about.
Right, the big monster
500
boxes.
ounces.
Exactly,
Yeah.
500 ounces in each box. It's a big green box. It's got yellow straps on. It tends to be yellow for the type 1s, which are halfway through 2021 and older.
Right.
So why are these getting to be numismatic or having value over the silver value and the coin value? Well, apparently these are banker boxes. These are boxes that can be put into your IRAs, or the banks are using them as the strategic metal.
Really?
So the value of those is close to $2,000 per box.
More.
Over
Wow.
the regular value. So that's $4 per coin.
Yeah.
Over the regular, you've got your silver value, you've got your coin value, and now you've got this quote unquote numismatic value or extra value that's put on, or premium value, because of the banksters using the sealed monster boxes. So if you have a sealed type 1 monster box, don't cut those straps. That's $2,000 right there.
My goodness.
And it's climbing. I mean, last time I checked, it was 700 or 500 in that range. So I don't know what it's going to go to. And this goes back to your diversity. Stay diversified across all different things, because you don't know what's going to rise in value one day or another. Going back to things rising and changing in value. That's what we were talking about, the bars and the 925 earlier. It's time to hang on to that stuff.
Don't sell it now if you can't.
Right. Don't hang
on to it.
Yeah, because the margin is too wide. We're paying. But I think it's going to swing the other way. And you'll be diverse. If you have a few bars, if you have a few rounds, the premium's going to go really high, what we're going to pay for those. Because I think they're going to want those. They're going to be looking for them pretty soon. And you'll be able to get out of them and get into currency here within the next few months, weeks. I don't know what it'll be. It could be January, but I think that's coming.
Wow. So hold on to them if you can until then.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, and the numismatic, we know about the gold. You know, you want to be in numismatic gold because that is one of the two things that is excluded from the Executive Order 6102 was numismatic gold.
Right.
So if you're diversified into numismatic gold, that may possibly go up in value. The gold will go up, the coin value goes up, and maybe even the numismatic value goes up. So we're not giving financial advice. We're just telling you what we do, and we're trying to get everybody to get insurance.
Right.
You know, when you buy a house, the first thing you should buy is a fire extinguisher and put it under the sink, and you should have a fire extinguisher. You need insurance for your bank account. You know, as we're getting older, we're realizing how important your savings is, because you start to wane in your physical abilities, and you're not able to work the longer hours. When I was younger, I was working 2-3 jobs. Can't do that now.
Oh.
So you have to be thinking about retirement. You have to be thinking, you know, that you're taken care of. Nobody's going to take care of for you. Certainly not the government.
Oh, my parents always told me, don't expect Social Security to be there when you.
My parents told me the same thing. It's not going to be there when you.
It will not be there.
Right. One of the reasons why I didn't worry about getting a job that had Social Security, I was more business oriented, was because my parents told me it's not going to be there when I retire.
It's not going to be there. Why pay into it? You know?
Right. Why pay into it? Right.
Oh, but we did. We did. So
yes.
It's not quite time yet for us.
That's right. Any other questions for this week?
I think.
Okay. Well, we enjoy everybody.
Blessings.
Quick short video this week. Blessings.
Yeah. Have a great week.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.